Three, two, one, start. So, welcome to the 23rd episode of the UnCut Theory Podcast. Yeah. We were supposed to start this podcast like an hour ago. But anyways, my promise in the last episode was the fact that we'll be consistent particularly. And here we are. If nothing goes wrong, like no technical difficulties and stuff, this episode will pretty much be recorded. So before starting the podcast, Yubi told me that he has a couple of ideas to discuss and kind of like mess around with. So this time, I'll give him the lead. You're the one who start the podcast. So go ahead.
So yesterday I was just looking through Reddit and stuff, and I came across a very peculiar post, if I say so myself. This guy in, I think, Lebanon, if I'm not wrong, let me just double check for a second. Yeah, this guy from Lebanon ordered a coffee at 10:30 a.m. and then ordered another coffee at, I think, 1 p.m. And the prices of both the coffees were fucking different. You get me?
Yeah.
The prices of the coffee were different. Now, a normal person would go, oh, what? Maybe it's a different coffee. No, they were the same coffee. They were like a cafe latte, I think. Another person would go, just the cafe just overcharged them, I think. No, that's not even the issue. The issue is the Lebanese lira, their currency, is inflating at a so astronomical rate that from when he ordered the coffee and when he ordered the coffee again, the price or like the currency's inflation went up
in just a matter of half an hour.
Not half an hour, like 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. A couple of hours.
Holy shit, bro! This is stupid.
The price again, maybe if Deer is feeling a bit frosty, he could show you the image. I'll probably send it to him over Signal, and he can.
Bro, that's what I was doing. I was just recording this.
So the original price of
I'm
that
just
coffee,
too ahead of this.
Yeah, the original price of the coffee was 130,000
Lebanese dollar.
103, not 30, 103,000 lira, I think, and the next price was 112,000 lira, which is
insane. The difference is kind of absurd, to be honest, because you can just imagine, like, in a matter of, I would say, like 2.5 hours.
Should I stop my stream if you're watching?
Oh,
or should I just
your choice.
let
if
go?
you're showing something, then you may share, but otherwise it's fine.
Sure thing. This is another topic. Let's just continue this one for a while.
Yeah.
And this is not just in like Lebanon and stuff. It's happening almost everywhere.
Bro, it's just crazy. Like, I heard this story from my grandfather back in the day, like back in the 1960s or 70s. You know what happened was, back in the day, dollar and INR, that is rupee, used to be the same. But what happened was that there were people who basically boarding flights from India to, I think, somewhere in the US. I just don't know. And it's basically a very popular event. So what happened was, these guys were like boarding the flight, and back in the day, you didn't really have like net banking and stuff, so you used to carry money physically. So these guys had a problem because there was a lot of pressure from the US government from that end, that the dollar price would be set in such a way that $1 would be equal to around 23-24 rupees, something around 25 rupees. So what happened because of that was that these guys who were traveling obviously carried a limited amount of money. Now they are just doomed because the calculation in the mind would just like F up so much, because now you're operating at a margin of 25x, like 2,500%. So that was a huge problem. And I used to think back in the day, like, if the price of dollar just keeps going up and up and up, because like 10 years from now, I think we'll be sitting at a spot where the dollar would be at least 125. Like right now, by the time I'm recording this, it's 81. Or let me just actually Google the exact figure for you guys. The exact one is USD to INR. And by the way, INR is a pretty stable currency. it's just the fact that our economy is not doing that great in
Again,
respect to the US.
India has great stability in its economics, but not a lot of growth, I would say.
Actually it's a bit complicated. Like I went into the economic side of the spectrum, and the currency shit is like very complicated because it depends on the amount of gold reserves a country has, and the US has the most amount of gold reserves, and that's also like complicated because some currencies have been taken out of the gold standard. Like what happened back in the 1971 was the President Nixon, NIXON.
Yeah, I know. He effed some shit up. Like
so
what
people
was
in
that,
the US already
Wellington
know
House
about
or
this,
something
but
like that.
No,
like
what
they named it
basically
after the
happened,
hotel. The law that was passed, they named it after the hotel that was planned in.
I don't know those facts, but
Yeah.
like I remember what he did, which was like mind blowing in the field of economics. So what economists before President Nixon came into action, they used to think that, see, every currency is backed up by something. For example, I release my own dollar, like Dirk's dollar tomorrow. Now it's not gonna have any value of itself because it's not backed up by anything. But modern day currencies are actually backed up by gold standards, or at least it was. Now a lot of economists would be like, oh, this currency is not backed up. I know what you're saying. So what happened before that was these currencies were backed up by gold standards. So when President Nixon came into action in 1971, he actually lifted that. Now the gold was no longer a part of the gold standard. So there were like a lot of stuff, like a lot of factors would come into action, like printing money. You can just print money and stuff, and the value would depreciate or appreciate in that regard. But what was the most craziest thing, and the reason why I'm telling you this story, is because after 1971, for about next 10 to 15 years, it was illegal in the US to own physical gold. It was illegal. If you're found owning even a piece of physical gold, even if it's a couple of grams, $10,000 was the penalty, and I think 15 years of jail or something like that.
What
You
about
can Google up.
pre-existing jewelry?
Oh, that's no. See, the jewelry is not the problem. I'm talking about like sovereign gold, like bricks, gold bricks.
But if I just wanted to evade like the IRS or like the government official, wouldn't I just use that gold to like into like cast something, or like melt that gold into some sort of
That
sculptures
is a
and
different
stuff?
issue. That's like manufacturing and stuff. But people back in the day used to own
But
physical
again,
gold
it's
as an
very
asset
easy-
class.
Again, maybe, but again, it's very easy to evade if you are
Y-
like holding gold at a good
haven't
level.
haven't you watched like those Richie Rich movies back in the day, or like that episode that they used to have? They used to open up their lockers and it was like
Yeah.
piles and piles of gold,
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff, like bricks of gold, because gold always appreciated in value. You know what I'm saying? So it was just illegal to own physical gold, which was absurd. Like I don't think any country has ever done that.
Again, like considering the fact that US had the prohibition, which was a monumental. If you ask like a very conservative in the sense conservative in India, not in the US, and if you went to that person and you proposed the law, hey, we should ban liquor, your first thought should be, it's a very bad idea, a very, very bad idea.
Considering what happened in the US, for sure.
100. I had no idea what was going through the minds of the people who were behind the prohibition and stuff. It was the dumbest idea imaginable. Liquor has been a staple
For sure.
even before coffee. It has been the drink of choice for centuries, and you're just gonna ploop, banned.
I get it. I truly understand what you're saying.
And you didn't expect people would retaliate.
Even people in India think that banning liquor would just somehow be a good decision. Like there's a lot of dry states in India where you're not allowed to drink. You're not allowed to sell, basically.
Again, some of them are like religious in nature, which sort of understandable, and some are just not. Like I think Vaishno Devi is a technically dry city because you cannot. I don't know, like I always hear from my father and stuff. Again, not just from my father and stuff. A lot of illegal booze factories and etc. are always being closed down in Vaishno Devi and stuff. Shops and factories and stuff.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. But that's like religious reasons.
Yeah, again, that's religious. That's sort of understandable. It's not an entire state. You can just go out of the city and have a drink with your friends and stuff. That's understandable.
But I'm talking about like dry states, because people in India specifically, like this was a law that was passed in Bihar, I suppose, I would say 8 years ago. So in Bihar, the crime rate was just ridiculous. So what happened was they banned liquor. I mean, you cannot drink in Bihar, in the state of Bihar. So
Legally
after that,
speaking.
they saw, legally speaking, I mean, of course you can do, and see, I'll tell you, if you live in India, there's nothing illegal. It's illegal when you're caught. People do all sorts of shady stuff, and they're never caught. So in that sense, it's not.
Even
I'm
openly too,
speaking,
even openly sometimes.
yeah, for sure. I've seen a lot of people do a lot of crazy stuff openly, and they're never caught because bureaucracy is set in such a way. But that's a conversation in itself. But anyways, the thing that I'm trying to push here is, what happened was they saw a drastic change in crime rates. So they were like, oh, this helps. So they just made a law, and then you're not allowed to do that.
So like, is it correlation or causation? What is it?
Bro, like, if I were to put it quite plainly, the idea was that because people drink at night, they do all sorts of stupid shit. So if they don't drink, those things will be eliminated. And it did happen to a fair degree, not in completion. Like, it's not like if you ban liquor, or liquor is the root of all the problems in the world, but it did minimize a lot of those problems. So, and actually a lot of people in the state of Bihar actually credit the chief minister, I suppose. I don't know who was the chief minister back in the day. Anyways, but the point was that a lot of people are with that idea. Like, and a lot of people in India do think that liquor and all these things should be banned. But reflecting what happened in the US, can you explain what happened in the US? I think it happened back in the 1920s or 30s.
1920s and stuff. So
for the audience
first of
that
all,
doesn't know,
putting it out there, people were on board with the idea. For like a lot of people are on board with the idea. Even the ministers that passed the law were almost on board. But as soon as the law passed, people were like, "Oh, we should celebrate." And what do you do when you celebrate? You drink. But they didn't have anything to drink. And as soon as a realization set in, oh, we have just banned the liquor. Everybody and their grandma, I'm not even joking, everybody and their grandma was making illegal booze in illegal stills and stuff.
Yeah.
It was found everywhere, from like parking lots to like distant mountains. People were making their own illegal booze, which is known as like moonshine and stuff.
Holy smokes, dude! Like
everybody. Another thing. A lot of, again, there's a YouTuber known as Oversimplified. He makes like long animated form videos on history stuff basically, and everything I am telling you is based off of that video. So yeah, and I've done some reading here and there, but that's the majority of what I know. So basically, what he explained in his videos, a lot of stuff or like workarounds were happening. So this company made sort of like a grape extract that said on the back of the cover, do not leave inside water and store inside a jar for 12 days or the water will turn into wine. So the warning was basically an instruction on how to make wine using this grape extract.
Yeah.
Another thing, you can still use alcohol for medicinal and religious purposes. So everybody was becoming a rabbi because, again, I don't know a lot about like Judaism and stuff, but what I know is like somehow like wine is involved in it, like in ceremonies and stuff. So a lot of people were becoming rabbis.
Christianity it is involved.
Yeah, Christianity does. Again, he explained it that way, so I'm like just telling you what he explained. Maybe there's some underlying reason why priests weren't allowed, or I don't know. So basically, a lot of people were becoming rabbis, which is just, I don't know if this is bad to say, but basically the priest equivalent in Judaism or like Jewish people.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, everybody was becoming a rabbi, so they could basically buy liquor for their friends and families and stuff, or either sell it in the black market and stuff. And a lot of doctors basically became bartenders because you could still let's just say use hard liquor for medicinal purposes. So people were coming in with, what happens? You put some money under a table. The guy goes, "Oh, I think you have this issue, and a bottle of hard liquor or like hard whiskey should solve this. Here."
Yeah.
But the major thing that happened, this, again, not every person is that creative. Not everybody has the means to make their own liquor or buy liquor from all these workarounds. So what happened was, this 1920 is technically the rise, or prohibition became the rise of gangs in the US.
You by gangs, you mean hoods, basically.
No, not hoods. Like mafia, to be exact.
Oh, mafia. Okay, got it.
The Italian mafia, basically.
JoJo reference.
Technically, everything is a JoJo reference. So yeah.
They tell me you watch JoJo without telling me you watch JoJo.
So one of the biggest gangsters from that era was El Capino or El Chapino.
Let me Google his name.
I think his name was El Capino. So basically, in a time where every gangster was always in permanent hiding, 1920 gangster, I don't know what his name was. Famous gangsters of 1920. El Capone.
El Capone, exactly.
El Capone. So basically this guy El Capone became, again, most gangsters at that time were in constant hiding because they wanted to evade the government, they wanted to evade their rival gangs. This guy almost treated it as like he was like the rock, like a star, basically, or like a superstar. He went around in public places giving autographs to people, and he actually gave autographs to people. He would do public interviews, and when people asked him about, hey man, again, basically, from what it's described, he has sort of like had a way of words. Yeah. So, basically, this guy went, and when interviews asked him, "Hey, man, you have been accused of killing all these people." He went, "Hey, simmer down. I didn't do that." So basically, he had a silver tongue, and he used to work his way around situations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he also sort of romanticized like the gangster life.
Yeah. Don't you think, like, if you think about it, the idea of like being a mafia or like this guy who does a bunch of illegal stuff, whether it's human trafficking, drugs, anything like that,
it's very romanticized.
No, it's not romanticized. I think in the Hollywood culture or like the culture in general that we just grew up in, it's like
cool.
If you see a guy cool. It's not just cool. Like, think about it. Like, if you walk, let's say we don't own a car right now, like our personal car, but let's say we are at 4 a.m. at this petrol pump, or for Americans it's a gas station basically, and you see a black Lamborghini pulling in. What would be your gut reaction? The guy inside is pretty much a mafia.
No. I don't think.
Are you kidding me?
Again,
this would be literally my gut reaction.
What you're talking about is like sort of like the mafia boss or his son.
Exactly.
The people who roll around in those kind of vehicles. Again, my first reaction would be, oh, this is probably like a billionaire's kid who is just fresh out of an after party and stuff.
Absolutely no. Not a kid. Like a full grown man comes out of the car.
Oh, definitely, that guy is doing something shady.
Exactly. You know that's kind of like the perception that society has created.
Like a grown man, maybe.
Grown man, 100% he's a mafia.
Again, maybe if they're rolling around in a jeep or like some sort of like a muscle car, definitely then they're the gangster. Like if they're rolling out in a muscle car at that time, they are definitely a gangster. You know, it's kind of like the John Wick stuff. That's one of the reasons I really like John Wick. Because John Wick is very romanticized. Because they have all this world building and stuff where basically honor among thieves and stuff. Like all of them are organized and stuff. And they have their own shadow organization. Everything has rules. You cannot just kill somebody in the Continental and no business in their chain of hotels, the Continental and stuff.
Yeah. But one of the things that I really like about the John Wick movie is that these guys who run the Continental stuff, the high table. Remember the high table?
Yeah, basically like 7 or 6 guys, or like the people who basically control the crime world.
They basically control the crime world, but that's not actually shown in the John Wick movies that well. And it makes me think, do you think there's a high table in real life? There's some guys, elite group of individuals who run everything.
We call it the Illuminati.
It's just funny, dude. Like, this is one of the things.
Definitely, it's again, people think of it, oh, they are like super organized, they run everything, they are making the new world order and stuff. Again, this is all like the stuff I heard from like Joe Rogan's clips of Joe Rogan, not Joe Rogan. Sometimes Joe Rogan, mostly Alex Jones. Mostly Alex, because it's in the more of like a conspiracy.
I don't watch
Again,
Alex Jones.
Some of the OG conspiracies are like the Loch Ness Monster, the Bermuda Triangle, and the Illuminati. And they were sort of like very harmless and stuff. Yeah. And Illuminati is sort of like this shadow organization that controls everything.
But conspiracy goes way beyond that, and I'm coming on to a conspiracy just after that.
Sure thing.
But that would be an excellent topic for today's podcast.
Sure.
But
like putting it out there again, what I think realistically, what again, if there is an elite few that are like in complete it's not like a more like a complete coalition. It's more of a, how should I put this? Like everybody's afraid of each other. They talk once in a while, but everybody is afraid that they're going to be backstabbed by the other person.
Oh, for sure. Again,
I don't know if you have played the Hitman games. The Hitman games actually have like a very good explanation. So in the Hitman series, there is sort of like this. What the hell were they called? In the Hitman series, there is like this elite few that they control everything, and again it is more well explained in the Hitman series, because in the Hitman series it actually makes sense why these few people have so much control over the world, because they own everything. Every single person in that basically that circle owns a certain the majority of a single sector.
Got it.
And they have a leader which is known as the Constant. Providence. I think it's called the Providence. So basically there is this super organization, and they use like an origami bird as their symbol. And there are this super ultra elite people who have like old money, like generational money, and they are rich to the point that they just know everybody.
I get it.
They just know everybody. They actually just control the world straight up.
Yeah.
Every organization that's running on a like higher than above or like a multi-billion-dollar level is just their direct subsidiary, basically.
For sure. I get it. So the thing that I was saying was, one of the things that I would not say frightened me, but like I knew this was a thing. When Andrew Tate got banned, one of the things that Andrew Tate told, and full disclosure, I'm not a fan of Andrew Tate. I bring up his name all the time, but I'm not a fan of Andrew Tate. Full disclosure. So, what Andrew Tate said? He said that when he was getting banned on all of these platforms, he got banned on YouTube, he got banned on Reddit, he got banned on Discord, all the platforms like Airbnb, Uber,
basically got
Lyft,
wiped up of the internet. Basically
wiped off of the internet. It's like the Matrix turned the switch kind of shit. But the thing that I was saying was, like, in a couple of hours he got banned off all the platforms. That makes me wonder, are all these networks owned by a group of elite few, or the high table really?
I don't know if you heard the name PayPal Mafia.
PayPal
Maybe they are
Mafia
not
is
internet connected. Again, it's sort of like an example that these people know each other. These people know each other and they are connected. They know their contacts and they are more close than you expect they are.
Oh, for sure. I get it, but
again, realistically, this is the root of all antitrust laws. The government, basically, like putting it out there, there's this guy. Maybe if you have watched my our YouTube subscription video, or like the YouTubers that we admire video, or like the podcast, the last one, one guy named Atriok, he makes a specific series called Marketing Monday, in which he explains like the business world and stuff. So everywhere, all across the world, all tech companies are laying off people.
For sure.
The one company that's not doing it is Apple. And the way he explained it, the reason Apple isn't laying off people is because they have more money than God. They basically have more money than God.
Yeah.
They have, let me just do a quick one, just a quick one. Like he listed off a bunch of companies,
Bro,
not small companies.
I'll tell you.
Sure, go on.
Apple, the evaluation of Apple is more than the entire GDP of this country that we're sitting on.
Yep. Again, the way he
It's more than
listed
$3
it.
trillion.
The way he listed it. The way he listed it.
Let me just pull off your screen again for a second.
Again, are you ready? Like, should I continue?
Yeah. Your
Should I
screen is
continue?
shared, yeah.
Again, I'm just gonna because people are most likely not gonna hear this, but Apple has more money, basically more worth than what Apple has basically more worth than Coca-Cola, Starbucks, Nike, Walmart, Exxon, AT&T, Visa, Disney, McDonald's, Ford, and Netflix combined. These are not small name companies.
Yeah. Since you have your browser open up, just do a quick Google search just for me and see what is the Apple's evaluation.
Again, I know it is the most valuable company in the world, but sure thing. Apple's net worth or like evaluation? Probably not net evaluation. So Apple is worth, again, sorry if it's taking a bit long to the audience.
Or just write Apple's market cap.
Yeah,
That's
market
Apple's
cap. That's the stuff we are looking for.
Go ahead, market cap. Yeah. $2.31 trillion. And just open another tab for me right now. Just open another tab. And write India's GDP.
Maybe you have to do a quick conversion for that.
Trillion. India's GDP in trillion. Yeah, it is $3.4 trillion. And can you just go back to the tab and scroll a little bit down? I think it would be more than that. It's showing the previous one. There was a time when the
market retail worth $1.7 trillion.
No. It's a previous article. That's why I'm saying go back to the Apple page, the previous tab, and just scroll a little bit, because I pretty well remember that there was a time they were worth $3 trillion.
Again, maybe it has gone down a bit, but who cares? Like, actually, we are talking about literally, again, India is now a small country.
Oh, we have a population, the highest population now, by the way.
Yeah. Again, it's not like we are comparing a company to we are comparing a country to a literal, basically comparing a company to a literal country.
Yeah.
Apple
Insane.
literally has more money than God itself.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the companies that are listed off: Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Walmart. These are no small companies.
These are Fortune 500 companies.
Exactly.
I'm willing to bet the
Apple
fact that all of these companies are in top 100.
Again, if Apple wanted to basically create their own country, they technically can.
Exactly. That's the point. That's the fucking point, dude. I just don't get it.
It's almost insane to the point that, how should I even put this? Like, they literally have more money than some countries. They could straight up buy those countries.
For sure.
Again,
100%.
they're technically not allowed, and this is why the antitrust law exists. So companies technically can't do this stuff.
Yeah,
you don't want companies that are yeah. Sure, go on.
Yeah, you know why these antitrust laws were set up? Or just think about it. What happened when these antitrust laws were not there?
We call it the big oil, or what the big oil was doing, basically. They were sort of like the first example of antitrust law becoming in effect. When companies talk to each other, they go, okay, so I sell oil, you sell oil, and you sell oil, and nobody else sells oil. What if we just increased our prices throughout? People would have no option but to pay.
Left whatsoever. You know what used to happen back in the 70s, 80s in India? You know what selling in black means?
Yep. Very familiar with that concept.
Very familiar with concept. So what used to happen was, let's say I'm a rich dude back in the 70s. Not very common here in India, but let's say I'm a rich dude back in the 70s. And you know, I know an Amitabh Bachchan's movie will be released in 2 months' time, and all the shows will be selling out. So what I would do, let's say I live in Delhi, I'll go and buy the tickets of all the theaters in advance in Delhi, and then sell those tickets for 5x the prices. And this was allowed. There was no laws as such at all.
Basic price.
Now you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Now you're not allowed to do that. You know, the same stuff that happens with graphic cards. The scalping stuff.
Again, the thing about, I was looking into a meme in like on Reddit and stuff, or like India gaming, or like gaming in India, stuff like that. And when graphic card prices were through the roof throughout the world, and when Nvidia started pumping out all these new graphic cards and stuff, a lot of countries had their graphic card come even down the MSRP. India didn't come down. You want to know why? Because scalpers in those countries, or the scalpers that are like basically hoarding all these graphic cards in other countries, are people. And when Nvidia and other stores counteracted this, they weren't able to buy any more extra graphic cards.
Yeah.
But in India, the retailers are the scalpers.
Exactly. So you're gonna ban the retailers? Good luck with that. You know, that's one of the reasons why living in India, and it's not just India, I think it's most of the third world or
adjacent
second world
countries. I think that's a better word. Technically, India is not.
Yeah.
I would not consider India a third world country. Except the metropolitan areas, including like the metropolitan areas and stuff.
No,
because
I
this
would
is where
consider
I've lived
India as a third world country.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because the thing is, because
metropolitan cities are basically second or like 1.5.
No. Here's the thing, and here's where a lot of people get wrong about India, including the foreigners and the people in India living by themselves. See, the difference in India is, like, let's say if you consider Cambodia, for example. Now, Cambodia is a third world country. It's in Africa.
What?
Sorry, Cambodia is in Asia.
Fix your geography. Fix your geography.
Cambodia is in Asia.
Yeah, south. Just like
I think
left or like.
Why did I take the example of Cambodia? I was thinking of Kenya or something like that. I'm so stupid.
Again, Cambodia is technically, I'm pretty sure Cambodia is also a third world country. It's like left
Cambodia
to
is
Vietnam, I think, and just below Laos.
Yeah. It's adjacent to Laos and stuff.
Yeah.
Cambodia, a country in Asia. Yeah. I was right. Why the hell did I say
Africa?
It's adjacent to Vietnam, bro.
Yeah,
Laos.
I just told you.
I just said Laos.
Just left to Vietnam and just below Laos, I think.
Below Laos, yeah, exactly. Anyways, you can laugh at me for saying that Cambodia is in Africa. I'm stupid, but the thing is, if I live in if you think of a country like Cambodia, the thing about Cambodia is it's probably corrupted. I don't know the corruption index over there, and everybody's poor. The difference in India is that metropolitan cities, people are super, super rich. Exactly. People are super. The average property here in India is in crores.
A quick conversion.
For the Americans out there, it will cost you at least $250,000 to buy a single apartment. I'm not talking about a residential building. I'm not talking about a plot.
A single floor.
A single floor. Exactly. $250,000. A decent side, like three bedroom-ish, 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, 3 bedroom, 3 bathroom, kind of like that. So that's where a lot of people get wrong. Anyways, let's change the topic. And we were talking about conspiracy theories. Remember I talked about the fact that there was a conspiracy theory I had in mind. You know,
which one?
We watched JoJo back in the day. And in the very first season of JoJo, do you remember like the time when Dio wore the mask for the first time?
Yeah.
You know, the guy who was trying to kill Dio or something, or
the policeman?
No, in that episode only.
Yeah, the police was trying to shoot Jojo or
no,
like
no,
Dio.
no. The police was trying to shoot Dio when he was trying to kill Sir Joestar. That was a different time.
Oh, okay. So what you're talking
I'm talking about the very first time when Dio was going through and he just punched somebody, and then he used some of that blood to actually use that mask because he was trying to like experiment and stuff.
Oh,
there was a guy.
The drunk guy.
Not the drunk. I don't think it was the drunk guy. But there was basically
Again, he was
clash
brawling with some
between-
person on the street.
Yeah. There was this drunk guy and this other guy, or the other guy was drunk. I don't remember the exact story, but there was this guy who was talking about like murdering people and stuff. You know
Yeah.
who that guy was?
Jack the Ripper?
Exactly. This Jack the Ripper guy was super famous back in the day. For the people out there watching in the audience, if you don't know, Jack the Ripper back in the 1800s, I suppose, was super
I'm
famous.
a little messy on the timeline.
Yeah, me too. I just know like it was a long time ago and it was in like the old UK.
Yeah,
Jack the
just
Ripper.
after the Victorian times, or like just
Yeah.
during the Victorian times.
Let me just Google the Jack the Ripper guy. So the thing was, Jack the Ripper, a lot of people know about him in the West, but for the people out there who aren't aware, he was a murderer. He killed a lot of people.
A very like one of the most popular serial killers, basically.
Murderers.
Who only killed women. And the reason why he's popular is not because he killed his head count wasn't even that high. He had something like 5 or 6 or like how many total murders.
But he killed high profile people. That's the thing.
Not high profile people. He killed random girls or like random women.
Oh yeah. He killed random. Well, so I just this article pulled up and it says he killed 5 victims.
5 victims. It's not that high, but why he was basically again the reason why he was feared or like the people feared him was, first of all, he was efficient because none of the times that the people were killed, nobody was informed, and second part, he almost did it to like a surgical precision. Yeah, and that freaked people out. Like, oh my god, this guy killed somebody out in the open in cold blood, and he did it with such surgical precision. And people were like, oh my god, like what's happening? It's like the streets of London going down and stuff. Yeah.
So the crazy part about this Jack the Ripper guy is we don't know the exact Jack the Ripper guy. There's stories about the guy, like, there was, I think, a Polish barber or something like that.
Yeah, I think the popular consensus is that he was a barber.
No. I'll tell you. The real guy, the real Jack the Ripper, was never actually caught. It's like we just know his name was
again.
Jack
These
the
are
Ripper,
all assumptions that because
these are all assumptions.
Again, all the evidence that he could probably have collected is long gone. And everything we are like speculating,
talking about is
not
just
us,
stories.
but the ones that the people that have speculated is based on what the evidence was collected by the detective of those times, basically.
Those times, and it's for us, it's just stories. We have no real proof, we have no images, no videos, none of that stuff, because they didn't exist back in the day. Like, we didn't have smartphone cameras or CCTV footage that can point to that. But there were evidences of some people who were thought of that guy being that guy, because the real Jack the Ripper was never caught, and the Jack the Ripper killed a lot of people. But the shady part was that, the police collected all of these evidences and stuff, and the way it was done, they thought that either this was some high profile guy or this Jack the Ripper guy was directly connected to the royal family back in the day, or was part of the royal family.
I have never heard of this story.
Theory. That's a conspiracy theory. And
but
that's
why
super absurd.
Why would a part of the royal, or like a guy from the royal family, just go around killing people?
I don't know. That's the reason it's a conspiracy theory. And also, like, think about it. If you are in such a power position and you want to eliminate all the people, so your power is pretty much maintained in that spot.
Again, I think I've already established this. He only killed random women.
I agree with you, bro. But see, it's not about killing people. It's about the fact that, it's just fear mongering. Like, I know this guy Jack the Ripper, and I can have him go around, do a bunch of stuff.
Oh, so basically you are saying
terrifying people. Yeah.
So they basically hired a guy and told him to basically spread his name or like spread his fear around.
Spread his name, exactly, and also
use that person. I know Jack the Ripper. He works for me, and if you don't get the stuff done by tomorrow or like a week or
Yeah,
something.
for terrifying
I'm gonna send
people,
it.
yeah.
I'm gonna send him on you basically.
And see, I'm just reading this article and it says Jack the Ripper was never identified or arrested.
Yeah.
Between August and November of 1888, he murdered at least 5 women, at least. All Prostitutes. I'm not sure if you're allowed to say that word.
Probably just don't say that word.
So that's the reason. In or near the Whitechapel district of London's East, and Jack the Ripper was never identified or arrested. It's just absurd, like looking back at those old times and thinking about the fact that how crazy those times were.
I think it pretty goes without saying this was a very high profile case.
Oh,
like
for
it
sure,
was a
man.
super high profile case back in those days.
Exactly. It's just absurd. Like I just really like Sherlock Holmes and stuff, and that makes me think like back in the day it was so easy to erase evidence.
Yeah.
You can just buy people. People were so poor back in the day. If I were just like, I'll just hand over a kid $100 bill, he would shut his mouth for his entire life. That's how easy it was for people just to convince people to erase the evidence, do a bunch of shady stuff, and never get caught.
Again, the invention of CCTV. I was gonna say CCTV. The CCTV has ruined everything, but I'm not. It doesn't infect me. But I was just about to say the CCTV has ruined everything. As if like I'm
Bro,
going to
in
plan
that
a
sense,
murder or
I
something.
think, yeah,
Again,
I think
there is I think there is a series on Netflix and something. It's called like How to Plan a Perfect Murder or something like that. It's either on Netflix or it's a series on YouTube. I don't know the exact like what it exactly is, but it's sort of like a popular. It's not even popular, I would say, but it is something like that people think about, like how to like execute a. Again, it like watching this is sort of like a red flag. If you tell somebody, oh, I've watched this series and told them, oh, I liked it very much. What does that say about you?
You're probably psychopathic in nature.
Again, not exactly. Again, it's sort of like a morbid curiosity. Oh, how would a perfect murder, what would a perfect murder look like?
Exactly.
Like, again, because in these days, everything is digital. You can track everybody. There are like, again, if you know anything about us, we love crime patrol here. And every single crime patrol case can be solved just by tracing back all the calls, because criminals in India apparently just, again, this is sort of like survivor's fallacy and stuff. Again, the ones that are caught by easy methods. Again, crime patrol doesn't show the cases that were never solved, which I think goes in like the thousands. It only shows the cases that were basically
you
solved.
Think thousands? I think it would go in millions. If I'm
Yeah,
not
maybe.
wrong.
It's not, again, crime patrol is not gonna cover cases or like thievery and stuff.
Oh, obviously.
I'm just talking about cases that involve actual murder or like other bad stuff. So again, they only show the cases that are solved. Sometimes they show cases that are partially solved and didn't go through, something like that. Stuff that it's just somewhat entertaining to watch. Like the Burari family one. It's technically solved, but again, it's technically not murder per se, but self-harm and stuff.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Again,
like,
whatever
bro,
makes like an interesting story and stuff. So yeah, so again, it's sort of like survivor's fallacy that almost every case can be solved in crime patrol by just looking at the cell records.
Cell records.
Because
It's
the
just so
people
funny.
that are stupid enough to carry their phones are gonna easily get caught, and that is the only reason that almost every case in crime patrol is solved by just tracing back the cell records.
Cell records.
Because
so
the people that
funny.
are smart just won't carry their phones when they're going out to do bad stuff.
Yeah, and it also sort of like makes me think, don't you think as time passes by and stuff, it will be harder and harder to commit physical crimes?
Exactly. Because this is,
see, the stuff
on.
doesn't stop here. The entire city is covered by CCTV.
Yeah.
So wherever you go, your movements are tracked.
Exactly.
You have a phone in your pocket, tracked all the time. GPS, in all sense it can be tracked. Then you have your voice being recorded through Google and all those things and data. I mean, everything is traceable in that sense.
Exactly.
So where the fuck are you going to hide?
Again, this is something I'm gonna put out. Something happened not a long time ago where basically
Mhm.
Google approached the police or like
Mhm.
gave the data of a certain person to FBI. Why? Because Google found that this guy was scanning a lot of baby pictures. Like, I'm not gonna say the N word, not the N word that you're thinking of, the NUDE.
Oh.
Again, that word in itself is not an issue, but combined with the word child or like baby is somewhat problematic.
Yeah. So don't say the word. I think it's pretty clear to the audience.
Again, you would think, oh my god, why would somebody do this stuff? And when the police or like the FBI or the relevant authorities came to this guy or like came to arrest him or basically looked into him, they found he was a child doctor, a pediatrician, who was because due to COVID was asking the parents, can you please send the photo of your child? Again, I don't know, maybe skin problems and stuff. I don't know the exact thing. Maybe it's a skin rash. I don't know. And it was basically a huge false flag. And this kind of stuff happens every day. But again, if I'm the doctor, I would be absolutely pissed. Not because I was accused of being a bad guy, but more of, oh, Google just knows I do this stuff. Again, this guy is not doing anything illegal. He's a doctor, he's a pediatrician, he's a child doctor.
Child specialist rather.
Yeah.
For sure.
Again, it makes you wonder. And the other thing that I was putting there was, there is an anime by the name of Psychopaths. I don't know if I heard about this thing or no. The main appeal of Psychopaths, it's a futuristic dystopia, not that distant as much, like not as futuristic as cyberpunk per se, but it's sort of like a more realistic depiction in which rather than the companies going wild, the government got basically the super powerful AI that can judge people to see if they are if they are gonna become a criminal or not. And these people are called latent criminals. The AI can literally look at you, it can detect your mental state, and it can judge whether you will become a criminal or you will not become a criminal. So and if you're found to be a criminal, you will be eliminated on sight. Again, if you try to resist, if you don't try to resist and you just got arrested, you have to spend your days in sort of like a rehabilitation, but not rehabilitation for actual crimes that you did. Rehabilitation for your thinking, criminal-like thinking, to reduce that criminal-like thinking.
Ridiculous, bro. It's kind of ridiculous.
You are basically getting arrested for crime that you have not committed.
Yeah.
And the main story about this is the catch-22 of this anime. Who's gonna execute or like catch or like fight the person who is already a criminal? The police, obviously. You know them. I know them. It's the police. But the catch-22 is, when you are trying to catch a criminal, you have to think like a criminal. And that makes you susceptible to the same system that you're working for.
Exactly.
So this is the reason basically the crime division is divided into two parts. One are capable latent criminals who, again, it's sort of like based on a ranking system. So basically, if the criminals they're hunting are on a scale from like 0 to again, when you cross 100, it's sort of like stress level, indicator of the stress level. If you're working from 0 to 100, you are okay. Once you cross 100, you're sort of dangerous. Once you cross 200, you will be immediately, again, in this world, guns do not exist. There's a special gun which is known as a Psychopath. That's the name of the anime. This weapon, when you point it at someone and fire, depending upon their stress level or their criminal level, basically, they will either be paralyzed, or if their criminal level is above, like I think 120, they will be immediately just killed.
For sure.
And the crime division is basically divided into the criminals who the people who actually do the shooting or like catch the criminals, and the division that monitors those criminals who are working with the police, basically. And this is the premise of the show. So it sort of gives you like a very dystopian but yet very, very realistic depiction of the world where you can be charged for crimes you have still not committed. And you probably won't even, again, we don't know, I don't know, you don't know, nobody knows that you will realistically commit those crimes. Will, if asked, again, if you ask like an all-knowing being like a AI, if this person is gonna commit a crime or not, and the AI says yes, will you go through with that decision or not?
I don't think so, bro.
Again, it's not about, it is known 100% sure that this guy is gonna commit that crime. But that's not the issue. It's more of an ethical issue, not like a factual issue, or is he gonna or is he not gonna commit the crime? It's about you are punishing people for the future. Stuff that hasn't happened. So you're basically, again, I'm not saying if you know about a crime, just don't report it because it hasn't happened. It works a different way. People can change. You cannot depict the future. Maybe a guy currently has a mindset that he's gonna commit a crime, but maybe something down the line changes him. You don't know that.
Sure.
You are basically, again, punishment is a form of consequence that happens after you commit an action or like a crime. You are basically giving people punishment before they have done the action necessary for a punishment, basically, which is crime. And it paints like that sort of like a moral dilemma, because you don't want to be the guy who says, or like, again, it's morally wrong to wait to stop somebody until they have done the crime. So it plays on that finicky gray area, and it's a very interesting show if you want to watch.
For sure, I'll give it a shot. You can just DM me the name of the show. How many episodes does it have?
There are like 3 seasons, but the first one is the only one that's required
3
to watch.
seasons. But
Again,
that's
listen, the first season is the only one that required. The first season is 24 episodes. 24 episodes.
See, I get it. You know, that's one of the problems that I have. You know, I just watched the entire Jack Ryan series from season 1, season 2, season 3. And why I watched it? Because the season 1 was so good.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with me when I watch such season stuff. If I just like it in the beginning, I'm just gonna watch it all through, like binge watch it. Otherwise, it's just a hard time. Like, UV recommended me Hunter x Hunter. And I never watched Hunter x Hunter because it has like 160 something episodes if you combine all the seasons.
Yeah. And the first part about Hunter x Hunter, the best season, the magnum opus of that entire anime, is the last season's last part. Not even the last season. The last season's last part, which is also the longest season. Of like 64 episodes or something like that. But it's absolutely worth it. And again, it's hard to, for someone like you who is so like proficient with his time and stuff, it's very hard to convince you to get into this stuff.
No, I think it's rather
a lot
if you put it differently, I'll watch it.
Yeah, a lot of animes are like this. A lot of animes. Again, One Piece, amazing story, all around perfect from the people who have watched it. 1,000 episodes.
Exactly. Bro, I don't have that much time.
Do I look like I'm made out of time?
Not just that, like everybody recommended me since I was in class 12th, I suppose, like Attack on Titans. It's the same story.
So, again, I would rather say you should skip Hunter x Hunter and just watch Attack on Titans, because Attack on Titans is something that you can enjoy even if you watch one season, one episode, even one episode. Like, the opening is amazing.
See,
almost every episode is masterpiece.
I truly understand what you're saying. Like, I want to watch anime, but there are like more series on the way. Like, I want to watch the Witcher series.
Don't even bother. The Witcher series is over. It can be a rant in itself, the mess that was Witcher Blood Origin, but let's not get into it. Even season 2 wasn't that good. Season 1 was amazing. Season 2 in parts of CG and stuff was very good.
What about Breaking Bad?
Breaking Bad is just it's perfect. It's Breaking Bad.
Exactly. I just want to watch
Breaking Bad is actually just perfect. The reason I don't want to watch more Breaking Bad is because when I watch Breaking Bad, the only thing I do is watch Breaking Bad.
Exactly, that's the thing. Like I
I'm
watch
just
Jack Ryan.
again, the thing that happens is, again, after
Mhm.
we are over this with this podcast, it's like 11:30 and something. If I thought to
Mhm.
myself, let's just watch another episode of Breaking Bad, I'm at like
Mhm.
season 4 or 3.
Uh-huh.
Again, putting it out there, the part, again, maybe it's a spoiler for this guy, so
Uh-huh.
let's leave it at that. If I considered, or like if I thought, oh, I just watch some Breaking Bad, I'll watch an
Mhm.
episode, which an episode is like an hour. An episode
Mhm.
is like an hour. I am extremely compelled to just like
Watch the next episode.
exactly like just hit the next episode button. I'm
That's
extremely
the
compelled.
biggest problem.
And the next thing I know, it's 6 in the morning and I still want to watch more.
That's the problem. That's one of the reasons I never want to watch. Like, you know what happened with Jack Ryan? Jack Ryan was so good. I used to watch 2 episodes a day, 1 hour. So 1 hour into 2 is 2 hours. That happened great for the first season. It was 8 episodes. Then once I stepped into season 2, I just watched the 2 episodes. Then it was a Wednesday. It was last week, and we came back home because all our classes was cancelled. You know what I did? I watched 6
Binge watch Jack
episodes of
Ryan.
season 2 and 8 episodes of season 3 from 9 a.m. in the
Yeah.
morning to 11 p.m. at night. That's all I did for that day.
Again,
And I
this
felt like
again,
an
this
absolute
is sort
piece of
of
shit.
like it's sort of like, how should I put it?
Mhm.
Another catch-22, I should say. The series is so good that you cannot peel your eyes off it.
Yeah,
And the
that's the thing.
and the
That's
reason,
thing.
again,
Mhm.
because the series is this good, it's gonna waste a lot
Yeah.
of your time. Because again, if it's a mediocre series, you can watch an episode a day and you can just carry on with whatever you're doing.
Bro. That's the paradox. If the
Yeah.
series isn't good, you're not gonna watch it. But if the series is too, that's all you're gonna do for the rest of the day.
Exactly. And again, this is the reason why I hate Netflix's model for even with the stuff they're doing with JoJo. Because watching an episode
Mhm.
a week of an anime is way more convenient than just binging it all. Again, for some stuff, again, you wanna binge stuff. But considering something like as legendary as JoJo.
Mhm.
You remember JoJo Wednesdays?
It was JoJo Fridays, I suppose.
Fridays or Wednesdays? I don't remember.
JoJo Fridays, I think.
Yeah, because again, I
Yeah.
only watched not even part 5. I just watched part 6 as it came on, which was technically not. I think I watched a fair
When
part
we got
of
involved in JoJo's,
part
we were
5
on part
was
2 or 3.
almost over, I think.
Yeah, part 5 was over
Almost
in the
over.
first half of 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, how much time is it? 1 hour 4 minutes on my camera, so it would be roughly
Yeah,
around
again,
55
I think we should
minutes.
just end this JoJo conversation and just end the podcast after that. So continue.
Yeah, that's all I was saying. The thing I was saying was, I forgot to say, you know, when you introduced me to JoJo, you didn't say that JoJo had 8 seasons. I mean, back in the day, there were only 5
I
seasons.
didn't even
after
knew JoJo had 8 seasons because this MF here, we promised that we're gonna watch JoJo together after we are done with
Yeah.
our board exams. This guy
And
just
that's
went straight up,
2020.
watched season 1, part 1, part 2, and part 3. Straight up.
No, that's not how it happened. I watched part 1 with this guy. I was so excited about part 2. Then we thought and made a treaty that we are gonna watch part 2, but we're not gonna watch part 3. So we watched part 2 together. Then I just went crazy and I thought, oh, I'm just gonna
Part
watch
3
part 3.
exists. And and Dio is back.
And Dio is back. So what I did was I watched 6 episodes of part 3.
That's
I
how
was
they
so
get
excited
you.
about watching
That's
part
how they
3.
get you, Deer.
And that's how they get me. And then the next day, I watched. I was on 6th episode on the very first day, 1 to 6. Every episode is about 23 minutes. That's how animes operate. The next day, I'm on episode 20. The third day, Stardust Crusader is over. I'm on episode 48. That's how it just went. I just watched JoJo day in and day out. And on the 4th day, I was like, bro, I just like skipped out 3 or 4 episodes of Oingo Boingo Brothers and like those filler
It
episodes.
was so, when the Oingo Boingo Brothers was so good. It's worth it just for the outro.
Yeah.
Just for the ending, basically.
Yeah, it was so funny. Like, I think about those episodes, but I kind of like skipped 4 or 5 filler episodes. Other than that, I watched the entire anime in 3 days. That's how crazy I went. And
Again, this is the best feeling in the world. I'm telling you, the day that I
no,
watched
it's
Hunter
not
Hunter.
the best feeling.
Again,
see,
the after guilt,
I'll
the
tell
after
you.
guilt is over. But
Horrible.
when you
It's
are,
horrible.
but when you are doing it, like you're currently in the present, watching
Mhm.
that, binging that anime, it feels like heaven.
It feels like heaven. And I'll also tell you, like, now, with everything that I've been doing, like, I just went to his house today and we were like planning out content, like how we're gonna film this podcast, how we're gonna do clips channel, show channel, my other channel, and all 5 of those channels. Now we are sitting in this one where we have so much work now. If I particularly watch anime, I don't have time to watch anime for more than 2 hours a day.
Again,
That's what happened when I was watching.
the day that I watched, again, I completed Hunter Hunter in a week.
Bro.
But that week was
But-
absolutely empty, so no regrets
Yeah,
or
but
guilt
now we
for
are not
work
free.
that's not done.
We have so much work on our
Yeah.
table, so yeah. So I don't think it's that problematic in that sense. We can kind of like shift things here and there a little bit. Like even tomorrow, I'm just like, after this podcast is over, I just got a message from my friend. I have to hit him up on Discord. You also have to hit him up on Discord.
Sure.
And like, you know, there's stuff. Even
Yeah.
I come back from college tomorrow. We have a lot of stuff on our table. I have to edit this podcast, edit the shorts,
Again.
7 or 8 shorts for the clips channel. I mean, we have stuff to do. So now
A
our
lot
lives
of
are
it.
pretty much busy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this
is a good point to
this
end
is
this.
as good as any point to end the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for watching. And as I promised, we are consistent now, and I'll try my level best to be as consistent on this channel as possible. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sticking in. We'll catch you guys with another episode. It will be episode 24 next week, same time, Friday, 7:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So bye-bye. Good night. Peace.
Bye.